What a lovely day to bake. Moin, my name is Arne, German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. Today we're going to bake sourdough babka. Babka has its origins in the Jewish communities in Poland and in the Ukraine, and it's a braided sweet bread. Usually it's made with chocolate, but I have made a variant with apple, cinnamon, and hazelnuts as it's close to Christmas. I'm now showing you my process, so this is from Luxembourg with Loaf. We start with creating a stiff sourdough starter at the evening before. Therefore, we take 100 grams of wheat flour, 50 grams of water, and add 10 grams of our starter. And then we stir everything together with a spoon until it dissolves the most of the water. And as it's quite stiff, we use our hands to finish incorporating all the water into the dough. So that takes a little time. Afterwards, place the dough ball in your glass jar, mark it with a rubber band and close the lid. At the next morning you see it has doubled in size. So for the main dough we need 800 grams of all-purpose flour, we need 80 grams of sugar, we need 160 grams of stiff starter, 250 grams of milk, 4 eggs, we need as well 13 grams of salt, and 300 grams of butter. And then for the filling we later use 80 grams of sugar, around 100 grams of hazelnuts, 4 apples, and then also 10 grams of cinnamon. So let's start with the milk and give it into a mixer and then add the flour as well. We also add the sugar now and the sourdough starter. And then we can start the mixer at a very low speed. After some minutes I'm taking the dough scraper in order to make sure there is no flour stick to the edges, and then roughly after 5 minutes I'm adding the eggs. So after 10 minutes it's time to add the butter. I'm only using half of the butter now and then wait another minute before I add the rest of the butter. I'm now adding the rest of the butter, and I also added the salt, which I forgot to record. And then roughly after 50 minutes in total, it's time to check if the dough is already fine. It looks okay, but let's give it another 2 minutes. And now you see also that the bottom of the mixer bowl is getting cleared up. So the gluten development is really done. So I'm transferring the dough to my countertop and doing some slap and folds. And then I smooth the dough to a ball. And then I place it in a plastic container and close the lid. After 30 minutes it's time to do a coil fold. So I wetten my hands, then I pull the dough up and pull it over. Then I rotate the box. Normally I would do a second set of coil folds after another 30 minutes, but I have checked the gluten network of the dough that already looked good. So this is called the window pane test, and if you can stretch out the dough very nicely, then it is already good. After 1.5 hours it's time to prepare our filling. So I'm roasting hazelnuts in a pan at moderate temperature. You see it's a little bit smoking, but that's fine. And then I give it into a blender. You can also use, of course, a knife and chop them a little bit. But this is way easier. And then I'm also chopping the apples. So I slice them in little cubes. And then I have given some butter in a pan, not sure how many grams that are. And then I give the apples in the pan and stir it at high temperature. I have spontaneously decided to add some rum to the apples, and of course I set it on fire. Wow, look at this amazing explosion. Don't do that at home. So after some more stirring, it was time to add the sugar. And actually you can see here that the sugar caramelizes. So I was reducing the heat a little bit. And then I added the cinnamon. Oh, that already smelled gorgeous. So after roughly 2 hours, it was time to roll out the dough. So I added some flour on my countertop and also on top of the dough, and then I used a rolling pin to roll it a little bit out. I wanted to give it a rectangular shape. Was big enough now, so I decided to now add the filling. So you can use a spoon or a spatula. It's a little bit easier with a spatula. And then, of course, also I added the roasted hazelnuts, which also smelled pretty awesome. And then it's time to roll up the dough. So roll everything up very tight. And then you use a knife and cut it in 2 halves, as I'm going to make 2 babkas. So I'm using a loaf pan, which I have greased a little bit with butter, and I'm cutting the rolled up babka in 2 halves, and then actually I twist it, as you can see here. And then I'm transferring that into my loaf pan. And now I'm doing the same with the second dough. So twist the dough so that it has this awesome shape, and then put it in the loaf pan. And then it's time to let the dough ferment for a couple of hours at a warm place. 4.5 hours the dough was well risen, so I gave it an egg wash, And then I covered the loaves pans with lid, which was a mistake, as you see in a few moments. So I baked them at 250 degrees Celsius, that's 418 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes. And then I saw that the oven string was too good, so I reduced the temperature to 180 degrees Celsius and removed the lid and baked them for another 50 minutes. After that, I was really happy because the oven spring recovered a bit, and look at these amazing results. Pretty awesome. So for cooling, I let the dough sit at a cooling rig. And then after 1 hour of cooling, it was time for a taste test. So let's cut the bread in half and look what it is inside. Wow, really nice texture, and the smell is gorgeous. So let's try the taste. Oh, yummy. It tastes so good. It's like Christmas. Have fun if you want to bake bread at home. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'm really happy with the result. It really smells gorgeous and the taste is incredible. I should have definitely opened the lid before putting the loaf pan in the oven. I will adjust that in the video description from the recipe. So feel free to bake this recipe. Please, if you do that, link me on Instagram or leave me a comment below the video. I would enjoy to read your thoughts on that. If you want to support me and my channel, please also like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next videos. Thanks. Have a great evening, Eddie, and goodbye.